Hey everybody, welcome back to another First Impressions video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the two other First Impressions videos that are on the channel right now. Excuse me if you hear the AC going. I just got out of theater and it was just, I don't know why, it was a little bit hotter than usual. Probably because more people were in the theater. Um, I mean, it should be expected for Top Gun Maverick, which is what we're discussing right now. Um, but also someone brought in their dog, which I was really worried that was going to interfere with my experience. Thankfully, that dog was very, very controlled. So, very strange. But, anyways, Top Gun Maverick, the long-awaited sequel. I mean, were people really anticipating a sequel for Top Gun? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I mean, hardcore Tom Cruise fans, and of course fans of the original film, obviously. Um, but I never really heard a lot about Top Gun 2 being like the sequel that a lot of people were wanting, and I guess the box office, contradicts that point, because this movie's been making a lot of money. It's been getting a lot of praise, a lot of critical acclaim from both audiences and critics, um, well, I just got out of seeing it, and I don't want to say too much because I will be reviewing the first Top Gun on my monthly package, but to give context to this review, I feel that I have to bring up the original Top Gun. So, the original Top Gun is disposable. I think that's the best word that I can use for it. It's disposable because what you get in the original is some really impressive flight sequences and loads of cheese. That is charming. But what you also get in the original Top Gun is loads of characters that you can really care less about. A story that feels extremely paint by the numbers, and just a very forgettable film, in my opinion. But I also see why people love it, because it's very stereotypical in design. In terms of like cinematic experiences, that's what fits the bill in terms of the stereotype. Something like Top Gun. So it's not surprising that Top Gun Maverick is doing so well, because the original is what people think of when they think of cinematic experience. You know, so I'm not surprised that this movie is doing really, really well. What I am surprised by is the acclaim, because the original Top Gun wasn't that well received. It was, fairly lukewarm, which I think the proper place to put the original. And I feel this one is more or less the same. I mean, to get into it, to make it clear, I do think that this is better than the original, and I mean it wasn't that hard to do, but this definitely has a lot of sequel syndrome, in that it tries to do what the original did, like almost exactly. Like it's literally the same exact story, except now it's a sequel. The person's now older, and their purpose is different now. But the characterization, the overall landscape, it's still pretty much the same. Like Miles Teller is pretty much young Tom Cruise. There's literally an Iceman ripoff. Like all that is still there. There's even the scene of where everyone has their shirts off. There's that scene where Tom Cruise does something reckless and then he eventually goes to Top Gun. There's the scene where someone almost loses a pilot, and that person may or may not have died, and then someone actually does die, and that affects Tom Cruise's character. Like all these were in the original, and Top Gun Maverick does the same exact thing again. And the difference between the original Top Gun and this is that upon entering the third act, there is some level of resonance that is felt, and that's very strange to say, considering that I can care less about any of the characters. But they really try. They really, really push for this emotional, uh, you know, like heartfelt feelings. And I can't help but feel a little bit when I was at the third act. And again, just like the original, the flight sequences are spectacular. They're quite a marvel to see. Um, but the problems with Top Gun Maverick is it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's like Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's just like any sequel that you would. It's when you hear a sequel to anything, it does what you'd expect it to do. It tries to bring in all the nostalgia. It tries to avoid cliches, but ends up falling right into them. Um, it's the person's now older, like it tries to to hone in on the legacy, but the problem is that Top Gun doesn't really have much, to start with. Like your base is not really that in depth or really that all that interesting. Um, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a decent time watching it. Again, the flight sequences are fun, just like the original, but beyond some resonance and I'd say better performances also. Um, Val Kilmer makes an appearance, which I don't think is a spoiler. Um, and that scene was nicely felt, more or less because of Val Kilmer's condition. Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't really see what all the praise is for. It's pretty much the same film with better technology. I would say it has a better narrative structure than the original because the original just was kind of like all over the place. Not all over the place, but it just felt kind of scattered. This one has a little bit more of a of a consistency, but it's still extremely lackluster in characterization and depth and in development. It's still like if you love the original Top Gun, then I'm pretty sure you're gonna love this. But if you're like me and you recognize all the problems that Top Gun had, and uh, not really caring for the story and for the characters, I'm not sure what you'll expect when you go into Top Gun Maverick. So, um, but it is a better film in terms of the filmmaking. It is a better film than the original Top Gun. But I just don't really care for the characters. I just really could care less about the story. I didn't really feel much until that third act because they were pushing it like extremely. Um, but like I said, the flight sequences are fun as they always been, um, and it's like it's bad when a film. It's bad when I can start watching something and I immediately go, okay, three, two, one, and then that thing happens. And I was able to do that a few times throughout this film. Like there'll be the dog fights, and eventually I'll be like, okay, well, this is gonna happen in three, two, one, boom, and then it happens. Um, like like I got a little bored with the first two acts because it almost felt like a remake of the original Top Gun. Like that's kind of how I describe Top Gun Maverick in a way. It feels like a remake. It doesn't feel like a sequel. It feels like a remake because it's just going through the same beats as the original did, just twisting the dynamics and the situations a little bit differently. So, um, so, and just like most Tom Cruise vehicles, I just don't care for Maverick. I care more about getting to the action. Um, and I didn't really feel much beyond one scene with Val Kilmer and then the third act, which again tried really, 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 really hard to make you feel something, and it was able to win me over a little bit. But yeah, I can't say that I hated it. I can't say that I'm disappointed by it. I got what I expected. It's like I said, better than the original, but no, seeing the original, I don't know what I was expecting from the sequel. So, it's just like any other sequel. It's like I said, it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife, where it's more focused on legacy and nostalgia than actually trying to create a functional story. Um, and it feels more like a remake than a sequel. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like we're moving the narrative forward. Um, as I said, the problem is that the original doesn't have a great foundation to begin with. Um, so again, did we need a sequel for Top Gun? No. Um, but it's better. It's better than the original, technical wise. Like the filmmaking is much better. Um, but it's but beyond that, it's more or less the same in many aspects. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Top Gun Maverick. You guys let me know what you think of it. It's gonna take a lot of money. I would not be surprised if Top Gun 3 is probably on the books. Um, but yeah, that's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm probably gonna do another review in a few days. So stay tuned for that. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Sorry for that awkward. Sorry. I gotta figure out how to do these outros better. So, anyways, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.